Now, the first question I want to ask, and you can start texting me now as soon as you have questions, but the first question I want to ask, and whoever would like to jump in on this, if you're a singer and you finally do you feel like God is leading you now to the next level? So no longer am I just singing at my church. No longer am I singing at the birthday parties and the functions around town, but I'm really ready to next level and become a national recording artist. If you could give them just one practical thing they need to have in place before they can even consider going to the next level, what would that be?
Well, I'm not a singer, so I'm a rapper, but I think the principles still apply. You know, when you decide to go into anything, you have to ask yourself, what is it you want to get out of it, right? So when I decided to go into music, my objective was, I just want to be on the radio, or I just want to be on this, and each one of those things have different plans, right? So the first thing I tell you to do is create a plan for yourself. And what I normally teach is a theory. Any business people in here? Anybody wrote business plans? Do y'all understand SWOT analysis? Okay, so now take SWOT analysis and make it applicable to your life. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are the opportunities that you can take advantage of or may have missed? What are the threats that you pose opposed to you? See, now when you're going into singing, you have to go, well, what are my strengths first? Am I a good singer? Am I not? If you're not, and you really have to be honest with yourself. Because if you ain't honest with yourself, you're going to lose, right? So you have to ask yourself, what are my strengths? And if you don't have the proper strengths and you understand the weaknesses, then you can go, okay, I need to get vocal lessons. I need to get all of these things before you even start to think about putting out records. You want to make sure that you are technically and sonically right so that you can go into the next phase and go, okay, I'm ready for this phase, that phase, that phase. So it starts with understanding self. It starts with, okay, am I good enough? And if I'm not, can I get the help that'll make me good enough?
Say, first start off with a prayer life. First start off with a prayer life, because sometimes we have the know-how and the ability, but we need that door, we need that support. And most gospel singers who really can sing, they don't have the money. They don't have the support. So you get the prayer life and ask God to give me a door that will open up another door. Because have y'all heard singers on the radio that can't sing? You can sing better than them. Absolutely. But it's because, not because they're sleeping with anybody, it's because they got a prayer life. And there was a door that opened. And as well as, that was great with the SWOT analysis. You took me back to my bachelor's degree. But you got to know also in the industry, it's not what you know, it's who you know. You have to know Jesus first. And you have to make sure you build relationships. If I don't say anything else, know that part. Build relationships. And one person can you can inspire one person with your voice. And everybody else say you suck. But that one person that say you inspire me, so I want to open up a door for you. And that's God. That's a God connection.
Something that's very key about relationships, and that has been a key element for me myself on the radio side. God has just continued to open doors due to some relationships that I was able to forge. Talk about that, though, because there's a thin line between establishing relationships and being team too much. How do you build those relationships in the network without, putting yourself in a position where you're overbearing and the people are like, okay, here she come again? How do they do that to be able to establish getting to their next level?
Kindness piece. So there is a way to nudge and encourage. I was on air in Los Angeles too, Monday through Friday, and that's a really interesting story too about relationships. That's how I ended up being on the air in Los Angeles in a top 10 market, and now I'm on the air on Austin. And so the thing about it is you can do the nudging, as we say, but you don't want to be overbearing. So it's a thing of like, oh, hey, good to see you. Didn't we see each other in Miami at the Gen Conference? That's right. How you doing? How you been? So start off what we call the sandwich approach, the hello, how are you, how are things going? And then you get into the meat of it, the reason why you're interacting with that person. And then so the bread is the greeting. The meat is what you want to experience and chat about. And then go back to the bread again. So you have a nicety. This is what I need from you. Have you seen my project? Do you know what's going on? I want to connect with you. Okay, no problem, good. Have a great day. So you just don't want to come out, girl, how you doing? What's going on? That right there will not get you far.
Right.
So sometimes we're encouraged, we've got all this energy and this adrenaline flowing. It's like, oh my God, that's Carlson. I haven't seen him in 100 years. No, okay. Go in the corner and get that out. And then come in a professional way. Right. Because now, I love somebody last night was talking about we're in the business side of it now. So yes, we're saved, sanctified, Holy Ghost filled, marching into the kingdom of God and living a righteous life. But please don't be offended this weekend if you feel like we're not really focusing on that. But we're here really to talk about business. That's my understanding, Dr. Carroll, right? And so you want to really work on that, because as somebody who has done a lot of things like we might have some stories about people who were overbearing, talented, but offensive, okay? So we're people too. So remember the sandwich approach. The bread, how you doing? Everything good? Family good? Grandma good? Everybody good? No, everybody and them good in your own way. And then the meat is what you want to talk about, and then end on a nice note. Because we remember that, and we understand. We know what it's like trying to get somebody's attention and those types of things too, because I'll do it as well. I am known to be a follow-up networker. But I do it in a way that's diplomatic and that people want to see me hopefully next time. Yes.
You need to understand the business, because without that, you're wasting your time. I know God called you to sing, and I know you probably be the best sound that's ever been out there, but if you don't know the business, you're wasting your time. And so I want to encourage you to learn the business. That's what I run across most of the time when I'm working with artists, is that they just out there singing, but the business part is messed up. And without that, they can't, they wonder, I'm not getting any money out of this. I'm not making it anywhere. Well, if you don't know the business, you're not going to be able to make it anywhere.
Make sure you know the PD
What does PD stand for?
of the radio station,
Right.
the program director.
They don't know what PD means.
Make sure you know who he or she is, because a lot of people, just because you hear a voice on the radio, that doesn't mean that is the program director.
Like my man Milton was saying, the music business is 90% business, 10% talent. They can take anybody and make them famous. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, if you understand the business side of it, you know how to push yourself. As a program director for one of the largest faith-based hip-hop stations in the world, I get inundated by a lot of people from all over the world, like, play my record, play my record, play my record, but don't really follow protocol. So the one thing that I can give you going into this as well is be mindful of instructions. So when stations say, hey, we listen to records on this day, give them the records on that day. Don't be blowing them up, all through the week, like, please listen, because everybody's doing that. So I say the bottom line is be mindful of instructions, and at the same time, make sure you fit the format. Because some people put out records and think people is just going to play your records when you don't even fit the format. Did you even listen to the station to understand how your records can fit in there? And if not, then you need to get with some individuals that can get you in that space if that's where you want to be.
The question that I asked about relationships, my relationships were built through support. By supporting different events and things like that. I'll give you an example. This past weekend, I was at the Dove Awards. There was a station owner there who I had supported some of their events, just went to support. Hey, love you, bless you. Now I'm on all 20 of their networks because they saw me as a person that supported. They wanted me to be a part of their team. So keep that in mind when you're connecting and being, trying to get to your next level. I kind of answered this one, but the question is, what are the foundations of knowing the business? That's one of our questions from the audience.
That's a big question there. About the
I know. I
It's
should
a
have broke
loaded
that down
question.
more.
Yeah, it really
Okay, well,
is.
give us one aspect, and then we'll kind of pass it down and let everybody share a little bit.
Oh, good. I like that. Okay. Well, the main thing is, first of all, the first foundation is you need to know God. That's the bottom line right there. Without that, the rest of it's worthless anyway. And so you need to have that as your foundation, number one. But then you need to know like they talk about as far as putting together a plan. you need to know the audience that you're trying to reach. That's a biggie.
I suggest, because I support rappers, secular as well, and I gave my nephew, he's famous, I gave him a book called All About Music, learning all about music. And I'm not sure, I'll get the name of the book. It's a great book out there. I'm not endorsing the book. I'm endorsing the book, but I'm not pushing it and making any money. But it is a wonderful book to read because you need to know about music, the music industry.
Well, I did write a book that went #1, so you know what I mean. So I mean, I'm going to do the
Buy the
shameless
book.
plug. Yeah, it's called Music Release University. Music Release University, where I teach people how to create a vision, you research, then you set the goals, and then you implement a plan. So I think the foundation comes, like Milton said, is first off figure out what genre you want to be in, because all of those foundations are different in each situation. You can go, okay, well, how do they achieve that? How do they do that? That's when I start doing the research and digging, and now I found a way to actively affect the algorithm. And that's where it starts, too.
And the foundation, too, for business, it's so many different things. It also includes preparing for your team. So the thing about it is that you can only do so much as an individual. So you are at some point going to need to start growing your team. And public relations and where am I at? Public relations and marketing is also a part of that. And so as somebody who's been a publicist, for a very long time, too, it's so important for the artist to be prepared and ready for the PR team. So when we're ready to engage, when we're ready to get you on TV, we're ready to get you international, ready to, have you doing some great things that you never could have thought about, but we have those connections and relationships to get you there, then we need you to also be ready, saints, in praise. I would never forget, I worked so hard to get an artist. There's new artists, independent artists, and we love you guys. But be ready when we're ready to engage with you all and you're ready to engage with us. When I say engage, that means time to get to work. Okay? I worked so hard to get these new artists on a fantastic platform that could have transitioned and translated and transferred them to a whole nother level, and then they were late. When they got there, it was a husband and wife team. Her eyelash was kind of on and kind of off.
Oh.
And as singers, we know we are to have no dairy in our system prior to getting a microphone. They sit up there drinking coffee with cream. I said, Lord Jesus. So I'm just giving you the fundamentals, the foundation. When your team is ready, you may need to ask somebody. And then when we talk about asking, there's also a business part of this, right? So all of us up here probably have consulting fees. So we're here this weekend, so we may, sow some seeds with you. But we are also business owners, and we're in business. So think about that too. Maybe you start asking the question, well, what are your rates? How would something like that, what kind of fees would somebody like that charge? That's a good question to ask MC Nice, because you may not be able to afford him. But he might have a good referral for you, and the same for me or Carmina or anybody that's up here, okay? So yes, you want to develop yourself as an artist, but you also want to develop your bank account. It's an investment, okay? I got a witness over right here. Y'all may not be ready, but this is just the truth. So for those of us who have these skills and this information, it didn't come for free. We also had to make some investments too. I can't tell you how many, say for example, industry retreats I've gone to in Las Vegas, Atlanta, Miami, in Bermuda. I see my friend back here, Orlando. He and I met in Bermuda at a conference with Dr. Miles Monroe years ago. Now he and I are brothers, relationships. Okay, so how many times have I personally given to do that? So now it's time, I've sown the seed, and now I'm ready for my harvest.
Good, I like that. Okay. Well, the main thing is, first of all, the first foundation is you need to know God. That's the bottom line right there. Without that, the rest of it's worthless anyway. And so you need to have that as your foundation, number one. But then you need to know, like they talked about as far as putting together a plan, you need to know the audience that you're trying to reach. That's a biggie.
I suggest, because I support rappers, secular as well, and I gave my nephew, he's famous, I gave him a book called All About Music, learning all about music. I'm not sure. I'll get the name of the book. It's a great book out there. I'm not endorsing the book. I'm endorsing the book, but I'm not pushing it and making any money. But it is a wonderful book to read because you need to know about music, the music industry, whether it's secular or gospel music. Gospel music has its own way of operation, but it's all basically the same. But you really need to know about about music in itself, learning the craft, learning what you want, where you want to go, knowing where you want to go, have that goal in mind. The foundation is reading, getting information about it, and then ask somebody who's been in the industry for a long time. Why are we throwing away our legends? Why are we throwing away our legends and we're singing songs that they put out years ago? You need to ask them, how did you do that?
Some people wanted to know, and I'm sorry I didn't get to everybody's questions, and one in particular we should have talked about, when you need a team. Because some people don't even have a cassette and they got a manager. What are you doing? Okay, but the Performing Rights Organization, that's what PRO is. Someone asked that question. Very quickly, because I want Miss Carol to ask me to come back, so y'all got to do right, Panelists. Very quickly, how can they contact you? Please share.
So my Instagram is Boaz, as in Ruth and Boaz in the Bible. Boaz_ENT, short for entertainment. So Boaz
You real
_
saved. You named your company Boaz? Come on.
Yes, girl. Boaz Entertainment. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I want Dr. Carol to invite me back, right? So I'm a chef, right? So I'm a chef. So I got my own seasoning out. It's called Nice Blend. My man over there, VZ, is Valito Foods. I'm the first dude in hip-hop history to be endorsed by a seasoning company. And so I have 2 seasoning, which I'm going to give one away. Any chefs in the building? Anybody cook? Okay. Anybody cook? So
we're going to bless the people on that side of the table.
Once we're done. So you can find me at MC Nice LA. So it's EMCEENICE LA. So it's MC Nice LA.
And how can they contact you?
At Brother Carlton on all social media platforms, or again, my business, been registered LLC and so forth for over 45 years, serving the gospel community all over the world for the last 45 years, just round-the-clock entertainment, round-the-clock media, round-the-clock marketing, any round-the-clock, you can hit me up.
You can contact me on social media. I'm Milton Wallace, or you'll see Milton ANT for All Nations TV Wallace. Email address is miltonwallace@sbcglobal.net.
You can reach me at bmproductions@rocketmail.com. That's bmproductions@rocketmail.com.
Appreciate the honor of serving as your moderator as best I could, y'all. You can definitely connect with me. I would love to support your music. I am Inspirations with Carmina. If you want to email me directly, carminabarnett@gmail.com.